The next phase of the economic collapse is about to begin, folks. Hey, everybody, you're watching Bull, Boom, Bear, Bust, back with another dose of economic reality, folks. So we have people already loaded up on debt. People can't make their payments. Late payments keep piling up in pretty much every sector you look at. And now we've got the shutdown to add on top of this, folks. What's that going to mean? Well, it's going to mean food cuts for a lot of people. We're going to talk about the benefits that over 40 million people are getting right now. And there's going to be a lot of cuts to that. So you're going to see a lot of pain out there. Also, there's going to be more layoffs, even more than we're already seeing. We're already seeing unprecedented layoffs. It's about to get worse. With the shutdown, we've already been told that there's going to be massive layoffs. So how is it going to affect you and me, the average person? Well, we're going to hear from a few different people, and we're going to get into that news that we just talked about at the beginning. We're going to get into more details on that. So please make sure you stay tuned for the second half, because that's going to be the real nitty gritty. But I think a lot of you like the kind of the new format here in this channel, and that's where we hear from a lot of different people talking about the economic financial situation. Also, more people are burned out now than ever before. We have massive numbers of people going to get evaluated and see therapists, and taking a lot of time off of work just because people feel like they're working themselves to the core and really not getting anywhere. Working hard is one thing, but when you work hard and you feel like you're just not getting anywhere, you're just getting further in debt, that can take its toll eventually. And we've seen prices high enough now for so many years that this burnout phase is really starting to kick into the next year. We're going to talk about that here in just a bit. But first, take a listen to this.
So the joys of homeownership come with very heavy costs. I live in Miami, Florida, where it's really hot, really muggy, really humid, especially in the summer. I just bought my house last January, so I've been living there a little over a year, almost 2 years. I look at my electricity bill from last year, and it's like double this year. I'm like, why?
Just bought a home in Florida a year, almost 2 years ago. Ouch. That means she bought when prices were still high. Remember, prices have come down somewhat in Florida in the past couple years.
What the hell's happening?
Also, before we go into the video, that's got to be a lot of work to put on that much makeup, right? Going to work and back, commuting, getting ready, packing a lunch, all that stuff, and then of course working. All that's a lot of work, but then you got to put on all this makeup. I couldn't imagine.
And then
I need the makeup, though. I know I need it, but I digress.
a few weeks ago, I started noticing that my house was extremely warm inside, regardless of the fact that the air conditioner was running and running and running and running and running. And the AC, if I put my hand like by a vent, was coming out relatively cool. So no problem. I recently got a new thermostat, and that should be working just fine. But the thermostat was telling me that even though the set temperature, let's say I set it at 69 degrees to go to sleep, the interior temperature of the house would stay at like 77. So after $400 spent on Freon for my very old unit, now I have to get another opinion to see if they can diagnose a perhaps potential leak in the Freon somewhere. If the leak can be repaired, great. If it cannot, and I need to get a whole new unit, I'm going to have to start like a GoFundMe page or something, because...
There you go, folks. One repair, one breakdown, one air conditioning repair again. And we just heard from her, a few videos ago, talking about how her electricity bill shot up. So now, is she serious? She's got to start a GoFundMe page? I mean, she sounds serious. Folks, this is what a lot of people are getting to right now. They're finding out that buying the home isn't the American dream. It's actually going to cost even a lot more than you anticipated. Most people, when they get a mortgage, they're just looking at the mortgage, the monthly payment. They're not thinking about all these other things that they now have to account for. Being a home owner, which is now all the repairs. As a renter, you usually don't pay all the repairs if you have a good landlord anyways. And it's going to get worse and worse and worse. The cost of living is not coming down on average. Now, there's a few areas where prices are coming down a little bit here and there, but the big things that people have to pay for every month are not getting cheaper as a whole, right? There might be, okay, bananas got cheaper from 2 weeks ago. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about your entire food budget. It's not getting cheaper unless you just, let's say, broke up with somebody and you were buying them food. But without something crazy like that, some abnormality, prices are going up, folks. Food bills, electricity bills, insurance, right? I haven't heard anyone talk about my insurance dropped. It's all my insurance went up again and again and again. Yearly increases, even with people with clean driving records, even with no claims. People are calling the insurance companies asking what's going on. I haven't had any claims. You haven't had to provide me any service, but yet you're raising our rates. Folks, they're going to keep raising their rates until people stop paying. So if you have to scrape up and borrow money and do balance transfers and go into debt, doesn't matter. They're still going to keep raising the rates until people can't pay them. And then if people can't pay them, guess what? The people that can't pay them, that's going to be less revenue for the company and pick your product, electricity, pick your good, your item. They're going to say, oh, wow, we have these people over here that are not paying. Let's raise the prices more because we need to pick up the slack. So the people that are paying, they're going to pay even more. We'll get into that more in a few minutes here, folks. But we're going to get into the layoffs, the economic data that's come out here. It's pretty bad. And historically, we've seen October be a pretty bad month for the markets. Will the markets finally react to all these shocks that are hitting the economy and the new ones that are about ready to hit the economy here in just a few days?
My favorite part about living in the US is that everything slowly but surely gets worse while also getting more expensive, and that shit really keeps me on my toes.
Y'all, I think we're in the first phases of a recession. I live in the outskirts of Houston, like in the suburbs, and it's not cheap to live, and we pay a lot of taxes, and there's one Starbucks, like in the middle of everything, and they gave them 24 hours yesterday to close up. Everybody lost their job. Gone. Drove by Five Below today, 2 of them closed. They were open last week. And people are losing their jobs, and it's the holidays, and I feel like this is the first phase of what's to come.
Oh boy, we're headed into the holiday season, folks. We've got Starbucks just announced what we talked about, 4 or 5 episodes ago, closing 1% of all their stores, cutting hundreds of employees, and she says it's the only Starbucks in her area. And not to make this about Starbucks, but the fact that a lot of people like Starbucks, and the fact that Starbucks in her area is shutting down and it's one of the only ones in her area, that tells you that people are cutting back. You may not notice it when you leave your house, when you go out into the world, you see a lot of people still buying. It looks like a lot of economic activity. Folks, a lot of this, most of it's on borrowed money. We found out that the economy is being propped up by the top 10% spending. Almost half of the spending is the top 10%. Spending almost half of the money right now. Let's continue, though, with what she has to say here.
You have money saved up. If you have a job you're thinking about leaving, I wouldn't do it, because it's about to get bad.
If you didn't think it was bad enough already, folks, the consensus is out there. It's about to get bad. We're going to hear from several other people. We're going to look at the numbers here in just a bit, but take a listen to this one as well. And now, to go from bad to worse with all the people already struggling, food stamps, folks. Food security and food assistance, banks are bracing for cuts. And we've already seen some cuts, but now with the shutdown, folks, it's about ready to get worse. I mean, let me know what you think down in the comments. Millions of Americans are facing cuts from food stamps as grocery costs continue to rise. So for those that thought prices were high because all these people getting this food for free, folks, prices are still rising even though they're cutting the programs, folks. That shows you that what's happening right now is really bad. Farms shutting down. The imports are more expensive now, importing food from different countries. So it's a perfect storm, folks, and it's already here for many people. Just because you haven't felt it yet doesn't mean that you will not feel it. That means basically it's what one of the points I've been trying to put out there is if you think this is all, won't happen to me, it's somebody else, I'm fine. Maybe you're fine today. I'm fine today. My family's fine. Will we be fine next year? I hope. But I'm definitely putting some funds away. I've missed a few vacations that I wish places I've wanted to go. I've put off going there. I put off some travel and put off buying a newer car. My newest car is 6 years old now. Still runs great, no problem. I have an older car that's 2014. It's got some spots on the paint, some faded spots. Doesn't look the best. Still runs good, and I'm just gonna keep driving it. Sure, I'd feel better in a newer car, and less likely to have breakdowns and stuff like that. But if it's going, I'm not gonna go out and buy a new car just to look better. That's just one example, I think, of what a lot of people are not doing. They're not waiting, and they're not putting funds away. They're not having an emergency fund or saving for an emergency fund, because they don't think things could get any worse. But with everything we're seeing right now, it is about ready to get worse. Take a listen to this. Someone that kind of has a concern for a lot of people out there is giving kind of a warning.
Seem like y'all got bad news on the food stamps. Seem like y'all about to be tired of working like the rest of us, right? Well, let me give you a little hope. When you go down there to that grocery store, don't go to the ribeyes. Don't go to the shrimp. Don't go to the crab legs. Go down to the little chicken section. Get you a bag of leg quarters, cut them up, make them last. Go down to the hot dog section. Don't look at Oscar Mayer, he's too expensive. Get them little red Franks, make them stretch. Don't buy the buns, buy a loaf of bread. You're gonna need that to make hot dogs and sandwiches.
This sounds like somebody who's already been scraping by and has already been making his food budget stretch. Let's continue.
Get the great value lunch meat while I'm at it. And great value everything. So when you get your check, make it stretch. But just know you're about to be tired of working, just like the rest of us.
Folks, burnout. He just talked about tired of working, folks, and watching your food budget and making your food last and getting alternates like cheaper food choices. Burnout is hitting Americans like never before. Take a look at this. And it's hitting millennials especially hard because they're the ones trapped under most of this debt, right? Especially the student loan debts. Sleep-deprived millennials are spending PTO, that's paid time off, in bed. So people aren't taking paid time off for vacations and travel and doing things. A lot of them are just so burned out from working, they just need to spend it in bed, right? This is a huge percentage, folks. It's like 40%.
I didn't know this was burnout until I left corporate. Back then, I'd end work, sit on the couch, and think, why am I so freaking tired? I sat all day. It's not like I ran a marathon. But here's what I know now. Burnout isn't always about what you physically do. It's about what your job does to you mentally. It's the mental load of the back-to-back meetings, the nonstop emails, the random office politics, the corporate trainings, smiling through toxic nonsense. It's switching between personalities, reading the room 24/7 and trying to stay calm while you're being gaslit from every direction. And when your brain's been in overdrive for 8, 10, maybe even 12 hours, even the smallest request feels like the last straw. So if you plop on your couch at the end of the day, you're not lazy, you're not weak, you might just be burnt out. And I know this because I've been there. And now I help people recover from it. Because you can get your spark back and you can create a work life that doesn't drain the life out of you.
You can get your work life back, or work-life balance as they call it. Some people have to spend all day in bed to do it, folks, when they get their day off. And we talked about this here a few times. What companies are doing, especially with the layoffs, is they're just putting the workload on the other people that are still employed. And it's not going to stop, folks. They're going to keep going, keep trying to replace people with AI and layoffs as much as they can to cut costs, while putting as much work as they can on the people that are still employed at the company. That's what I've seen. I mean, let me know what you think down in the comments. Am I wrong on this? This is what we're hearing from people. They're getting bigger and bigger workloads put on them, more and more responsibilities, having to wear many, many different hats at pick your job. But it seems like it's pretty much across the board. Now, if you're at a job where you're just hanging out, not doing much, I hope you're making enough to get by and actually build some wealth and not just scrape by or not just break even at the end of the month. I hope you're making enough money to get by. But the people that do have the jobs where they're just sitting around, like maybe a security guard, working the night shift, or somebody working in a booth where you barely have to do anything, Now you can sit there and read a book or something like that until a car pulls up. There's jobs out there like that, but from what we see, you have to work really hard to get by, and not just to get by, but to get ahead. Getting by is one thing. Most people are getting by somehow, right? 70% paycheck to paycheck. I'm talking about getting by, but also building wealth. Are you building wealth, or are you just getting by? That's what I think a lot of people have become complacent with. They become complacent that, okay, I'm getting by just fine. Folks, getting by isn't good enough. And then how long are you going to be getting by? Until this next phase of the economy hits, we're not going to know if you can continue to get by when everything really starts falling apart. I don't think we really have seen anything yet. So you need to do more than get by, even though you think you're okay with getting by, that getting by is what you want to do. That's your goal. I think you need to build some wealth, not just get by, but build some wealth. Take a look at this, though. It has just been announced, folks, that another phase of big layoffs are going to be occurring very soon. So it really does look like October is going to turn out to be a very, very volatile month. And will it be the month where we see the big drop or collapse in the economy that some people have been predicting for years? Or will they find a way to keep this thing propped up, to keep the implosion from happening, and to keep everybody from just losing it in the economy? I mean, in general, prices. Will we see a collapse, or will they find new ways to keep the markets propped up, new ways to keep prices high, like they did in 2020? Remember, 2020 should have been heavily deflationary with all the number of people, the many millions of people that were out of work. That should have been a huge deflationary event, right? Like 2008, 2009 financial crisis, when prices came down significantly. That should have been 2.0 in 2020, but it wasn't, because they put a floor under prices and kept everything propped up. They paused payments and rents and everything else. What's about to happen, folks? It feels like something is on the verge. Again, I could be wrong. We're just looking at all the different markings here, the different opinions of people, the news, the data. Let me know what you think down in the comments, but hope to see you in the next video. Keep stacking, everybody. Bye now. Peace.